And good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the rest of the world. Welcome. This is the last day for the qualifiers for Mobile Legends Bang Bang Americas in WEC 2023 IESF. We'll be your casters for the finals match. I'm Rockhart, and this is Burger Kim. How are you feeling about the finals today, Burger Kim?
I mean, it's so fast, right, Rockhard? The last time we were on, it just felt like it went like a breeze. Like it's so fast. From day number one, day number two, day number three, and then now we're down to our final day. I actually can't believe it myself. And we're gonna be seeing Brazil and Peru. That is just fresh off their win, by the way, in day number three. And of course, the team that will be winning this one will be qualifying to the IESF Romania this year. So definitely something to look forward to for the team that will take this one.
Yeah, and if you guys aren't aware, that is a LAN event with a 100,000 USD prize pool for all the teams that will join. So watch out for that one. It's happening later on for this year. And of course, we are watching the teams that battled it out for 4 days in the Americas region. And definitely for the finals, it's going to be an exciting one. It's going to be Peru versus Brazil in the best of five. Now, I know you watched Brazil fight. We only watched like a sample set where they really
Mhm.
dominated, and that was I think that was against Argentina and Peru. It was a bit of a closer one, if I remember correctly. They were the
Mhm.
ones who did the reverse sweep against the same team, which just happened yesterday.
Yeah, this is Peru, right? So it was they went up against Argentina, and it was I actually thought well a lot of the people were actually saying that Argentina, but then Peru just pulled something massive, especially with their draft in the second game and up until the third game. It seems to be that's their kryptonite, the Natalia, for Steffi. So I'm not so sure if that might be a thing for this game as well, and that's something that for the side of Brazil that they have to watch out for as well, since Luna is fond of using these utility type of supports, and we all know that it's not really a hard tank. So maybe like something like a Natalia would really give a hard time to Brazil. But think about it too, like it's one band slot out, right? Just in case they do decide to respect the Natalia, considering the performance yesterday of Peru.
And that's going to be happening later on today in the draft. This is the roster
Mhm.
for the Brazilian team here. And yes, if we're talking about the Natalia specifically for Peru, for Brazil, we've got a lot of very proficient heroes. Those utility roams we talked about, especially the most prolific of them, the Estes, might be making an appearance on the draft today for sure. If not in the picks, then for sure will be banned out by Peru. Because if you know Peru, if you know Brazil, they really love to group up, create that death ball lineup, and it has been proven to be very, very effective, making for very quick team fights as well as controlled macro games.
Peru also actually picked up a couple of very interesting picks too. I mean, if Brazil is more of the type of roster that goes with meta picks, picks that are familiar, rotations that are the usual, right? So Peru yesterday actually looking at the way they drafted in game number one, we've seen a Uranus in the XP lane for Dragons, so something new, and even the Natalia was the one that really worked well for them and was the one that actually made them win the entire series, and actually the reason why they're going up against Brazil today.
Yeah, interestingly enough, I did not really expect that Uranus pick. It's been a while, right? It's been a hot minute since we've seen that pick, and I really did not expect it to actually, make a huge impact. But overall, I feel like it's really more about the holistic value of the
Mhm.
composition that really does shine. It's never really about like the individual performance, and same can be said for the
Mhm.
Brazilian team. Now for Peru, this is their roster that we'll be fighting off for today. That's Stefan Dragon, Harley, Joel Crew, and Quinn, who still seems to be I know, very adept at surprising us
Mhm.
with some very
Mhm.
interesting picks as well. Quinn, who again we were not really aware that had some skills in Mandarin. Uh, flexed out his name in a different language. I was really not expecting that, but yeah, Peru really gave us some very interesting surprises yesterday for sure.
Yeah, the name, right? If it's in Chinese, if you're watching the live stream later for Peru, that is Quinn. He just translated his name from English directly to Chinese, so there's really no extra meaning to that. So, yeah, kidding, jokes aside, like Peru, right? Spectacular performance yesterday. A lot of actually uncontemporary picks as well. First time that we're actually seeing it in the live stream. So apart from the Natalia and the Uranus, there's also the Bane for Peru that Quinn used. Wasn't really that impactful. I think it was because of the composition as well that Argentina pulled off in that particular match was a Valentina and a Faramis. So it's really hard to go up against that. Well, for Peru, they didn't really have that much answers. I'm not so sure what went down in the drafting phase for game number one yesterday, but definitely we can say that I just love how teams are able to work around like these new heroes that have been buffed, Alpha, Bane, and even the new Uranus that I'm not so sure if we'll see it once again for this final best out of five, by the way, for our qualifier. So, yeah.
So best out of fives really will test your endurance, and
Mm-hmm.
I believe that Bane really does have a slot. I'm starting to believe what you mentioned, Burger Kim, where Bane really does show a lot of promise in that jungle role. The amount of damage that you can really squeeze out of this hero is a little bit insane, especially when you consider how early it begins to show up. I think yesterday we did see it like get to level 4 and hit a level 1 Faramis in the face. I remember seeing
Mm-hmm.
that, and that was on had happened on the top side. It really got etched in my mind, and I thought, why is this guy level 4 and why is the Faramis just level 1? How quick is that scaling? How quick was that snowball? So maybe some of our players, kind of watched that and realized, hey, we can do this as
Mm-hmm.
well. So again, what are I get what you mean because of the possible counters to the Bane, but what are the ways that maybe it can shine here today?
I think for the Bane, right? Like if ever they decide to use it again, it is the type of hero that can sustain, farm really fast, and have an insane amount of damage. So I think if you pair it up with the right type of support, the right type of roam, I think for Peru, right, they can make it work. As of the roamer hero, Steffi, he's more of that aggressive type of roamer, right? So more of the Grox, more of the Natalias. These are pick off type of roamers as compared to Luna, who's a bit more safe, who's a bit more provides a lot more utility for the team. So I think that's a big difference between the two teams. The roamers play style, but yeah. Speaking of the roamers, speaking of all these picks that we're actually talking about with Rockhart, let's head over into the
Remain
drafting phase
should
right now.
petals
Argentina
fall.
and Peru and Brazil is going to be on the blue side right now. And wow, Rockhart, it's not only a prio pick, but it's also in the ban list, like the first ban list here for the qualifier. So Lancelot, yeah, we've seen a lot of first pick Lancelots, but we're also seeing a lot of Lancelots being banned away.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this before. I think that was day 2 where I was actually super surprised with the first ban, Lancelot, really rushing it in now, and that kind of telegraphs what a team wants you to play like, right? Lancelot bans mean that they don't want you to play fast. They want you to take it slowly. So they want you to be able to have a more controlled jungle lane. So that might mean that they want to go for these really good scaling heroes, for example, to carry. And who knows, maybe they want to try to farm it out as well. I was thinking about maybe the Claude, but that got banned out as well.
Mhm. Wow, this is Brazil actually taking away specific heroes, right? Like we talked about the Claude as well of Joel Crew that he spammed in two straight games yesterday, and now Brazil as well. They're gonna deny it, as well as the Wan Wan. So a lot of gold laner bans here from
Ooh.
Brazil. I think they wanna bring out some of these meta heroes. We haven't seen so much Novaris. We've actually seen it in the first day of this qualifiers, but not so much in the second and third day. So I'm wondering if we're gonna be seeing that a lot more today. Now, final ban here for Peru, Valentina Faramis. This was the thing that made it really hard for them in game number one yesterday. So either or, what are they going to take out here? Our lot is still open as well. I mean, something that
Yeah.
Brazil has to consider as well, since they love picking up the Estes.
Oh boy, Valentina and Faramis are both open right now. So that would mean that's gonna mean that one of these heroes are gonna be picked here for Brazil, if not the Arlot. What? No way! It's the Eve going out
They're
right
just
away
denying it
for
all.
Brazil here.
Mhm. Wow, I think this is a very solid start from Brazil. I mean, aside from the fact that yes, there is a Faramis, there is a Valentina, they're going to completely ignore that fact and just pick up the Eve. I think this is such a great start for Brazil, but again, the threat of the Valentina and Faramis is still there. I think for Peru, they can go for Valentina and Arlot here. That is pretty much still open, and Brazil knows that very well, right? They can definitely take all these heroes, and it is going to be the Valentina. And looking at the pick here, it looks like a Melissa as well being prioritized here, since there's a lot of gold laners out already that were taken out by Brazil.
This is super interesting, Burger Kim, because we have to know, does Luna run a
Mm-hmm.
Farum as well? I haven't actually seen that.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, on all the times I've seen him play. So maybe that's a bit
Mm-hmm.
of a challenge, right? That's a bit of a challenge that's being issued right now by Peru. Like, all right, we dare you. Try to pick up this Faramis. And there is also like a small possibility, right, that Peru also picks that up, making it a very powerful mid lane duo.
Yeah, Faramis and Eve. I haven't seen this combo, but it will be good with the Arlot. Yeah, you're right. Great question there. I'm not so sure if Luna is quite comfortable with that hero. But speaking of something new, speaking of new picks that are surfacing here, we're seeing a Roger pick for Brazil. Wow, this is also um, patches ago that I've seen a Roger being used in the jungle. I'm not so sure, but more or less, right? Like if you pick up a Roger, this is already the jungler revealed for the side of Brazil.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, the Roger is not the most conventional hero that we've seen lately,
Mm-hmm.
but you know what? It's a mastery thing, right? It's probably a mastery thing.
Mm.
I know a lot of teams, even locally in our region, where they would really like tear it up with that pick,
Yeah.
regardless of if Fredrin being available, a Barats being available. These are interesting. This is very specific on the hero, but you know what I really
Mm-hmm.
like on Peru's side? They're still maximizing that Terizla, who just seems so powerful right now. Really good for the engages here for Peru.
Wow, they take away the Lunox here for the side of Peru. Um, not so sure what the idea is here for the side of Peru. They still take away a Lunox. That is actually still a possibility. Yeah, I was thinking like Lunox mid lane, right? But we completely forgot that yes, it was a thing, right? Mages in the gold lane, and Lunox is one of them, as well as the Harriet. Back in the time where you've seen like an Alice and Lunox go up against each other in the gold lane, or maybe even a Farsa and Lunox that go head to head. And speaking of the Farsa, it's still open, by the way, to take if Peru wants that, a lot more high ground. But I completely forgot they have the Valentina here, so that's not going to be an option. A lot of roamers here, pick offs are being taken away here by Brazil. The Kadita, that is something that Steffi can actually use, and the Natalia, by the way, if they still want to go for that type of play that they did up against Argentina in the previous days.
Hmm. Now, what I'm thinking is, are you reading what I'm reading right here, Burger Kim? Is this a possible Estes lineup for Brazil? Is that even a thing? Because I'm not sure of who's going to be the exact
Mm-hmm.
marksman here for Brazil. But
Mm-hmm.
Ken, is this still a lineup that you'd consider for that Estes?
I think I haven't seen a lot of the Rogers with the Estes, right? And yeah, speaking of that, they're still gonna let the Estes slide, right? If ever that is going to be the case for Luna. But there's just a lot. I mean, traditionally looking at the lineup here of Brazil, you would think that if you want an Estes, right, it's usually with tanky heroes. You'd see like a Fredrin being paired with an Estes. That's such a good combo. Barrett's with the Estes even. So like those really tanky frontliners being paired up with the Estes. But I think it could still work here for Brazil, but let's see.
Yeah, we're gonna have to find out if that was the final pickings
That was it, yeah.
for Brazil, because I actually have to
Yeah.
ask about that Roger pick. So we'll have a bit of a
Mhm.
ruling there later on for sure. So other than that, I
Yeah.
feel like kind of imagine, I can imagine, right, what Brazil is trying to run here. But for Peru, it seems more clear cut, right? What other
Mhm.
line? What are the other picks that can kind of take care of the Melissa here? Because I think the Rome is going to be so crucial for Peru.
Hmm. Especially, they haven't revealed it just yet. So yeah, I was actually wondering too. Like, I was trying to make the Roger make sense there. I'm not so sure which parts, but I think it was the fact that Brazil as well. They were thinking of what to pick up there. Was it like the Faramis, or maybe pick up Luna's heroes already? The Akai, by the way, was still open at that point, so that could have been a possible option for Brazil. But yeah, remake best out of five, guys. So just hold on to your seats. We're gonna head over into the drafting phase in just a little bit. But yeah, Rockhart, it is. We were talking about the roamers here of both sides, and I think it's just
Yeah.
very, it's two different personalities if you think about it, right? Steffi, more of the aggressive type. Luna, more of the yeah, total support type. Can play a really good Lolita as well. So for Peru, right, they know that very well. I have yet to see the Akai once again in the hands of Luna, so maybe, just maybe, we can see it. It wasn't banned away in that particular game.
Yeah, actually, so many options available for Luna here. He doesn't really necessarily have to go for the Akai. If you want to go for a strong game, maybe if you want to control the early game, you can go for the Akai, not necessarily the Estes, and just go and pin people against a wall and maybe kill them early on for the first blood. Maybe take the first turtle, second turtle, right? You don't always need to go for the healing. And if you think about healing, it's not always Estes, right? There's also the Rafaela, who's maybe going to be available here.
Hmm.
So a lot of options actually still open for Brazil. But I'm thinking maybe we should go back to the Kufra. I feel like Kufra has been very underrated in this tournament. I know a
Well,
lot of the Asian countries have been picking her up right now, him up right now. So that's a very good viable option, right?
yeah, Kufra for the crowd control. We haven't seen Steffi play it, right? It's more of the Natalias and the Grox yesterday. So I think that's a good um counter, good answer to the Estes. Maybe even like a Minotaur as
Mm-hmm.
well is a good answer to the Estes. So I'm not so sure for this particular round. Is it going to be the battle of yeah, sustain and then heavy crowd control for the other side? So that could still be a thing, but again, it is going to boil down on what type of jungler both sides will pick. Will it be like the
Mm-hmm.
assassin? Like, I haven't seen so much assassin so far, so I think for this region as well, they're very comfortable with the fighter tank junglers.
Yeah, I feel like the junglers also are gonna be so crucial here. But again, this is completely up in the air still. I believe that in terms of Rome picks, maybe we can go for. I am still keeping my fingers crossed for Minotaur. Right, come on, Minotaur. Are we still gonna see the Minotaur? Because I feel like it's a very up and coming hero. It has
Hmm.
so much potential. I feel like in the right hands.
Yeah,
So
I
loading
think
up
so
into the
too,
picking
right?
badge here.
I played a couple of ranked games yesterday, Rockhard, and I tried the Minotaur. I actually like the adjustments, the rework that they made with the ultimate, that you don't really need to charge up anymore. As long as it's available, as long as you can use it, as long as it's up, the cooldown is already up. He can actually pop in that Minoan's Fury, and I think that's something that Peru should consider here for Steffi. Something with heavy crowd control, like what you mentioned, Kufra, Minotaur, and Atlas. These are great answers to Luna's hero set. So perhaps that could be the case. And heading over to the picking and banning phase. So it's still going to be more or less the same here, since this is going to be a rework. So I think if I remember correctly, it was 1-1 for the last ban of Brazil, and for Peru, I think it was oh yeah, there the Grok. The last one I can't really
There
remember,
it
but they
is.
left open, yeah, the Valentina and the Faramis is open.
Yeah, I really love the. I actually really love that Minotaur rework. I think he realized what the Hulk realized a long time ago, that he's always angry. So you don't need that rage bar anymore. So that's so interesting for me that Muton decided to go that way. But yes, it really did make the Minotaur a very viable pick in the roam. Flicker in, then just go insane, just smash, and then let your teammates do the rest. So yeah, I'm very excited to see what's gonna be the end game here for this draft,
Hmm.
because I feel like you know what, we can always flex it out a little bit. Again, so many powerful picks available right now, even the Atlas.
Hmm.
Although right now, since the Diggy has been fixed, the Diggy is still a possibility. So now there's gonna be some
Hmm.
counters to these big setting um, roamers
Hmm.
in the mid.
Hmm. So here's the thing too. I think for both sides, they're really waiting for each other to reveal the roamer. As you can see, right, they haven't revealed it just yet. So oh, okay. So it was a Beatrix pick for Brazil, not the Roger. And yeah, that's the R lot as well, gonna be locked in. So I think it was a misclick on their side, or yeah. This is
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
be
yeah.
a Beatrix Melissa on the lane. We've seen this matchup already, and I think the Beatrix is just, there's just so much possibilities with the Beatrix, right? Like when have we I there wasn't a patch that I haven't seen a Beatrix being used. Even when it was nerfed to the ground. Like there was a time where it was nerfed to the ground and it's still pretty much very viable. We were talking about the Estes, and Peru's like, you know what? Let's just take it away here for this side. So Kadita for the side of Peru as well. So this is going to be the Rome for their side. So pickoffs once again here for Steffi.
All right. So this completely kind of changed what we thought about the draft earlier. Um, but for Brazil,
Mm-hmm.
no, I don't think it's still. I still don't think it's an Estes lineup, but but
Mm-hmm.
Peru batted it out, and there and for a good reason. What, right? You usually
Mm-hmm.
wanna use Estes if you have heroes that have high HPs. That means that you can maximize, or that you can more efficiently use the healing coming out from the Estes. Because imagine this, how would you heal someone who just evaporates in 2 hits, right? So that's why I would think
Yeah.
maybe they don't want to really go that route. But again, you don't know. We don't know yet who's the jungle going to be. And usually, if you go for like a jungle Barrett, it's a great trade off. The SS can keep everyone alive,
Mm-hmm.
and it does feel like a very uh, international lineup, right? An international death ball lineup. So that's still a thing. But now, no more possibility of Estes. They might have to
Oh,
result
and
or resort rather to the Akai, and there you go. Faramis is out.
Rest, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty scary, right? And I think for Harley DD too, if you think about it, yes, the Valentina's just great, like for picking up the ultimates and looking at the lineup of Brazil. There's a lot of ultimates here that Harley DD can pick up, but it gets confusing, right? In Clash, it's like which ultimate do you pick up? Which is the most useful per Clash? So I think that's also going to be a problem when the Faramis already has the items and is able to sustain all the dives, especially coming from this R lot. I think this is the first time Brazil will be rocking this one. We were talking about the Uranus, if it's going to be a possibility here for Peru, and actually Brazil just knows that very well. You know what? We're gonna take that away. A hero that can dive as well in the towers has been buffed, but I wouldn't say it's really a major buff for the Uranus, but it's more of him keeping up with the pace of the XP laners here. Now, looking
Yeah.
at Peru, right? This it's dives so far, pickoffs. I mean, if they want to go for um, the XP lane matchup, I think it would be so little to see like a Lapu Lapu here with the lineup of Peru.
Yeah, actually, that I love the Uranus ban because that will mean that there will be
Mhm.
more opportunity for the Arlot to make like power plays, attempts to
Mhm.
assassinate someone in the XP lane, and that's going to be more possible if you fight off against maybe a squishier hero like the Lapu Lapu,
Mhm.
like you mentioned, right? So there it is. It's the Akai. I believe that's more of a deny pick for Peru. The lineup
Mhm.
doesn't feel like an Akai lineup, but yeah, they pick it up because you know how Luna can be very proficient in that hero.
Now there's still the Lolita here for Luna. There's also the Matilda options that I've seen him pick up, and with this Barrett's being hovered by Brazil, I think usually it is still a support type of combo here for Brazil. There's a lot of crowd control too here for Peru. The Diggy as well gives vision in the bushes, so that's something that they have to consider as well, especially for the Kadita. I like this Esmeralda if ever Peru decides to lock this in, and this is definitely going to be a problem for the side of Brazil since the Diggy has a lot of shields. And what does the Esmeralda love the most? Taking up a lot of those shields for herself. And yeah, Peru just answers it out with the Esmeralda. And this is, again, for Peru, deadly. All of the dives that are being made, but in terms of the range and team fights, you got it all for Brazil.
That's not bad. That was a big swing pick from Peru. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
was not really expecting an Esmeralda pick, and it's been a while since we've seen a Diggy. So I like that people still remember that. You know what? If they have a lot of shields, you can deal with that with the Esmeralda, and that means that Peru's got a pretty good grasp of like really how to counter pick, and that's a good sign for Peru. But for Brazil, I believe they created quite the lineup, right? They created a lineup that can definitely rip it out in the early stages of the game. Same with the mid game. Although I'm not sure about their late game pick capability. That's more of the Beatrix. But you know what? Let's go out into the game. Let's see what's going to happen here in game one of a best of five between Brazil and Peru. It's for all the marbles, ladies and gents. Winner of the best of five will be flying off to Romania for the big event WEC 2023.
Wow, there's also some lesion happening there for our junglers to be able to get in the farm pretty fast. And looking at the Barretts here, I'm actually quite worried for the side of Peru. How will they burst down this Barretts when it comes to time that it has the big guy stacks all up? It has all the defensive items here. The only problem for the Barretts here is going to be Joel Cruz Melissa when it reaches the late game.
That is very true. I feel like that's such a straight up answer. And right now, I believe that they need to have a lot of trust in Upatizi to deal with that lane. Because if they don't, again,
Hmm.
Joel Cruz has been proven to be a very hot commodity for Peru. So if there were any lanes to gank for me, if I was Peru, I would send everything to Brazil. Other than that, Black can actually is not really super scary in the early game. Right now, Joel Crew, look at this guy. Oh my goodness, just throwing out those needles and putting a very, very low Barretts and Diggy back to their lanes.
Wow, that actually caused Buzizio to click in that retribution to slow down Joel Crew because he popped in that inspire as well. So really really fast attack speed, and if he does get taken down here before the turtle is up, that's massive for Peru, right? They can have this early lead. And speaking of, there is the flicker there by Black, and he draws it, gets in that kill onto Harley Didi, and now Dragon as well. A little bit of misposition here, gets the Detona's welcome. Get in
Oh,
my belly and get stunned there onto two, and that's two pills picked up by the side of Brazil, and they're gonna be heading over straight into the turtle right after that one.
beautiful execution here coming in from Brazil. Quick 2-0, and they also have control of the turtle pit. Although they still have some fight to take here. Stephanie, oh my goodness. That was a huge miss out on the rough waves. That means he will not have the ultimate, which means it could be a 3v3 on the turtle. And it looks like it's going to be a no-go for both these teams. Quite a wash here at 2 minutes and a half in the game.
I love how Brazil is able to play this nice and slow, and now Kin is able to click in that retribution and take in that turtle for themselves. So as of the moment, right, we see a little bit of struggle here from Upatizi on his lane. Joel Crew is actually doing quite a great job at poking him, causing him to actually think it through if he's gonna go back into the base. But at the same time, it's just 3 minutes in. You can't really go back. You're gonna miss a lot of those gold cards. So yeah, you see Luna as well moving towards this bottom side to ensure that his gold laner is assisted well in this early stages of the game.
You know what, Burger Kim? Even though Brazil did get some lead on, the gold is actually quite even. That's so interesting, isn't it?
Mhm. Maybe it's a turtle take here of Peru too. Like it's such a quick move from them as well, like positioning themselves onto the turtle side, knowing that Buzizo and the rest of the members of Brazil were too busy taking down. I think it was Dragon at that moment, right? Like finds himself in the wrong side of the jungle, and yeah, gets punished for that. But fortunately enough, there was the answer, and now Joel Crew 1v1 duel here outplays Upatizi. And this is actually the reason why Peru already prioritized this marksman hero as early on, and this is going to be a problem for them if they don't let Upatizi scale up well in this lane. So so far it is Joel Crew right now, level 6, and as for Upatizi, just level 5, one level behind the gold lane. So we can expect to see Rockhart. I think perhaps Luna will be rotating towards the bottom side as well.
Yeah, I feel like they really should. Like I said this, right? I said this at 2 minutes. Before 2 minutes, if there was a lane to gank, it's that bottom lane. We did see a solo kill by Joel Crew there. It felt quite, I would say, breezy from him. It seems so easy for him to kind of push out Upatizi, who was still having the Bennett. So it was actually quite a slow gun to use for 1v1.
Hmm.
It's gonna be a 5v5, I believe, around this
Hmm.
turtle pit. Burger Camp. It's looking really good so far for Peru.
Oh no, there's the turtle take from Buzizio, but there's the answer onto Dragon. He might get punished here. There's the final slash that take him down. Buzizio as well, gonna fall in the hands of Joel Crew. This is not good. One more kill away to get that killing spree for Joel Crew. Unfortunately enough for Brazil, they took in that turtle. Not that much of a gold lead just yet. So still, I would say they're playing this out pretty well. I think for both sides, they're also thinking it through, right? When to go in for the engage, when to disengage. And as you can see, Rockhart, this is really scary for Upatizi, right? Like you see Steffi as well rotating towards this side. And I mean, one combo, it's a petrify on this Kadita, so Upatizi better watch out. Top side though, that's gonna take some time. So yep, we're gonna focus our eyes here on the bottom side instead, where Joel Crew one more kill away to get that killing spree.
Yeah, and Brazil's just starting to realize that, you know what, we could have gone on the bottom side earlier on. Right now, it's the mid who's going to be the big problem here for Brazil. It's a free man combo right here for
Oh!
Peru, and they're able to take out Bazito so easily there with all their skills. Although right now, they don't have their ultimates. Maybe Black can make something happen. But no, everyone from Peru starts to disengage, doesn't give the Arlot an opportunity to go in.
Yeah, I think for Peru, right? They don't really mind using all of their ultimates onto Buzizio at that point. I mean, that's the jungler, right? You're trying to take down, and it's a Barretts. It's not going to be easy, but definitely worth it, right? A lot of pressure on the jungler here of Brazil that already endured like 2 deaths. Plus the fact that for Brazil, they also have to consider Joel Crew here in his lane. So I think Peru, looking at how they position themselves here around the map, they're just looking for possible openings, either getting some pickoffs onto the damage dealers or maybe even catching the jungler by surprise. And we've seen Brazil take in the second turtle. Let's see if this turtle stance once again will be Brazil's. There is the needles from Joel Crew. Nice zoning from Kin himself and gets in, spinning in time to get in that turtle for their side. And here comes the rest of the members of Brazil. Everyone's really low. There's the Terrify on Super Syndra. Not a very good position as Dragon will take him down. There is the go away from Melissa. Not enough to, survive that final slash. Upatizi as well. Gonna free hit everyone. Luna from the backside gets taken down by Dragon. Care of the shields taken in by the Melissa. It's a 2-4-2 trade here, Rockhard.
And we're seeing a little bit of the weakness of picking up an Esmeralda. It doesn't really have that really fast movement, which makes teams kind of be able to dodge around and deal with it. That's exactly what we saw here, and now it might actually get punished. No movement skills means it's gonna get stunned and slowed down and taken care of. That's gonna be a kill on top side, basically free for Brazil.
Yeah, I mean, at that point, like, Dragon was doing a 3v1 duel. Barretts can sustain, so it's not going to be so easy. And now Black here, 1v1 as well with Joel Crew. He has the tenacity emblem, flickers away from the needles of Joel Crew. Let's see if there will be an outplay here. There is no petrify. Actually, it's a flicker. There's a shutdown onto Black. There's a real world, the fake world manipulation, by the way. That's not the real Eve. That's Harley Didi with the Valentina. And he's able to kind of weigh all the damage, but here comes Buzizio as well, here to greet him with the Detona's welcome. He gets stunned, not so sure if he gets taken down. He's able to sustain as the Valentina hasn't used the flicker out just yet. But Upatizi being aggressive on this top lane as well. He wants to take it for Brazil, and if they do, that is going to be another tower down for their side.
You know what's super interesting for me that I just realized there are some games where the Valentina, obviously because of the passive, has a higher level than the Eve. So sometimes the real world is a fake world, and the fake world is a real world because it's stronger because it has a higher level. So that's just something interesting that just popped into my mind. Now, right now, there is going to be a huge rotation. This is a very early contest on the Lord area, and they seem to be really gunning for it. They've got some good zones, still very healthy right now. It is a beautiful back-to-back dance here for Brazil and for Peru. And yeah, Harley Didis is positioned in right now. It's going to be a very messy fight. Who's going to be the target? Daytona's welcome. It will be canceled.
Oh!
And it's going to be Quinn going down. Jungle going down here for Peru. That is massive. It's a four-man squad against Free. But they are still quite low.
Oh, no.
3 members are quite healthy for Peru. They can still try to contest for it. Harley DD, 2 kills. Man, oh man, they could still be the ones to get this. Bazilio, can he pull off the retribution? And he does,
Lord.
just in the nick of time before he goes down.
Wow, for Brazil, they clicked in that retribution. Still a big win for them, but I'm not so sure, right? One by one, they're falling. They also get a tower here for Peru, so I think it's just an answer to the Lord take here. Fortunately enough for their side, it's not yet the Luminous Lord here. Nice positioning from Harley Didi. Actually, I think at this point, like, even though Harley Didi doesn't have that real-world manipulation or maybe even the Time's Journey here, it doesn't matter because all he needs to do is pop in that Arcane Shade, that Shadow Strike. It's enough to actually deal a lot of damage here. Even for the tankiest heroes of Brazil, they have to take down this Lord. So I think this is a perfect opportunity for the side of Brazil to take in some towers, not unless like they want to force out the fight here.
Yeah, if I were Brazil, maybe forcing a fight would be a bad idea. Although it's gonna be Quinn going solo Beyblade right now, able to walk on now there, but that is a big money ultimate going out. Oh my goodness, Steffi! What are you doing? Out of nowhere! And the fight is ensuing. It is massive. It is a mess. Ubatizi is super duper low. Super Center going down as well. It looked so good for Brazil for a minute. They were the ones who were chasing, but they suddenly got chased out as well. But Joel Crew going down means it's still a good fight for the Brazilian squad. They're able to equalize.
Wow, the tower on the bottom side as well fell, so it's care of the minions as well coming with the Lord. Harley Didi at this point, right? 5-1-6 on this Valentina. And a lot of isolated team fights. For Black, right, it's a good thing that he's always able to pick off Joel Crew at this point. When the go-away is already out, he can pretty much dive in with that final slash and take him away. And as for Peru too, there, like what I mentioned, right, there's a lot of pick-off potential with the Kadita, the Petrifies, even the Falling Star Moon. Hero of the Melissa is just something that the backlines have to deal with. And for Luna here, he's playing a Diggy. So this isn't really someone that can, soak up the damage for. It's more of like canceling out those ultimates, right? But there's a lot of crowd control here for the side of Peru. So maybe I think for the side of Peru, they're just baiting out the time journey here of Luna to be able to ensure that they win in all these team fights.
Yeah, I think it's so critical to bait out the times journey because your team kind of relies on a lot of big, high CC ultimates, which is happening right now as well. On the bot side, it's gonna be Black fighting it off. He is so messy. I love these team fights. It's a disaster if you catch Black, and he does. Steffi, oh my goodness, they're able to find these targets, but it's still a 1-for-1. And like I mentioned earlier, it's so important to bait out that times journey because you need to rely on the heavy spin, right? You need to rely on the rough waves breath of the ocean combo. And somehow Peru is making it happen, keeping the game quite even.
And so far, 13 minutes in, it's just answers after answers for both sides. And here's the thing, too. Once they take down either like once the heavy spin is out, once the falling star moon is out, they have to watch out for the petrify and rough waves here of Steffi. So it's if you're Upatizi and Super Syndra, right? Like you better watch your backs, despite the fact that there's some vision here being provided by Luna. It is definitely hard to position yourself, especially if you're in Eve. You want to have that nice position there on the back line to be able to, pop in that rear world manipulation in a very safe side. Half HP for the Lord here, Rockhart. I'm thinking for the side of Peru, they're just, waiting for Luna to either click in that time journey and then it's go time, or maybe even perhaps get in a pick off from the backside. As you can see, Steffi, right, looking for his target. Here's the Detona's welcome on to Quinn. And now we see the backside as well. Steffi's gonna get spotted out there by Black. The final stash has been used, and now Quinn gonna take in that Lord with the Retribution. But they might force out a fight here for Brazil. He's really low. Quinn here forced the flicker out of Black. Final slash to get them back there. But for Peru, it is a clear win for them. No casualties too for both sides, and they take in the Lord.
That is true. It's also super critical that Peru forced the flicker out of Upatizi in the last moments of that fight. No flicker final slash, no flicker Beatrix, no flickers for the what do you call this, the Eve. It means that there's a lot of easy targets here for Peru if they really want to force this Lord fight. Or the fight in their tower.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and then we see as well like Bazizo is going to be the one soaking up the damage, right? Because Luna isn't really someone who can frontline for the side of Brazil. They are able to melt down this Lord, but again, this is Peru once again straight off from their win up against the Argentinian team yesterday, and they're looking really good right now after that Lord take. They were able to take in towers, map control, as well as gold back to their side. A 3K gold lead for them, Rockhart. And Brazil right now, they are actually struggling right now on what to do next because it's only their inhibitors left. And it's just so hard to go near Joel Crew at this point. There's a lot of heroes like backing him up. Either Brazil has to consider the heavy spin of the Akai. There's also the Petrify rough waves here. Plus, Harley Didi has always been picking up this real world manipulation of the Eve from the side of Brazil.
Yeah, and this is the reason why I love that Valentina clapback. So that's why it's still a really good first pick, right? But you always want to be able to have a a counter, and the exact counter that Peru did was, you know what? I love that ultimate. Give me some of that. Also with the flexibility to maybe make it a times journey, depending on how they want to play. They want to play a lot safer. They want to avoid some of these dashes coming in from Black. They could take out the times journey and remove those crowd controls, and that makes sure that Black does not have any targets to 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 stun in, right? So these are the
Mhm.
very interesting ways that Peru has been able to kind of take it back a notch. Not to mention so much crowd control from Peru, from the rough waves, from the breath of the ocean, and as well as from Quinn.
Look at Steffi here. This is just really scary for Upatizi, right? Just one rough waves here. Just picked up the Divine Glaive as well. So you can see Brazil really struggling on where to position themselves, which bush is Steffi hiding in. And yeah, speaking of Steffi, he does pick up the Holy Crystal at this point. So that is going to be a major problem for, I think, even for Luna at this point, right? So, I mean, that is going to be something that they have to consider. And now Steffi is going to get spotted
Oh,
out here, just as we were saying. He uses the not yet the petrify though, but he's gonna relocate himself. So again, Lord fight 18 minutes in Rockhart for the side of Brazil. They are
ah!
moving towards this side, and Steffi also can get bursted down here by Upatizi. That's something major for the side of Brazil. They can at least breathe here. They don't really have the rough waves to consider, so it's only the heavy spin and the falling star moon here. And now Black trying to go for Joel Crew there. He's really low. There's the tenacity. There's the flicker. And his target is Joel Crew. And he does get it there in the backside. And for Brazil, they're just going to keep chunking at this Lord and making sure that Kin is far away. Nice zone in there by Black. Harley Didi doing his very best. Their real world, fake world manipulation. But it is going to be Brazil. Picking up this Lord as well as a kill onto Kin. Finally, that took two members of Brazil to take him down.
And it also took 4 of my eyes to keep track of that team fight. Did you see how messy that was? But in the end, it was the lack of the Kadita that made it so. It feels so easier, a lot easier for Brazil to take that team fight. Steffi, man, I can't believe what Upatizi did. Basically, picked off a Kadita all on his own. That is massive for the Brazilian squad, and because of that, they will be coming out on top with that Lord.
I think that was also something that Brazil was really afraid of, right? Like, where is Steffi? Where is he hiding? And at this point, right, like you want to pick off someone before the Lord is up. So without Steffi, it was much easier for Brazil to go into the team fights. They can definitely deal with the heavy spin here of the Akai, but for the rough waves, there's almost no escape, right? Even for Upatizi, one Petrify combo can really delete you from the map. And as of the moment, Brazil, they're gonna try to go in, lock in this tower. Joel Crew as well, still up and kicking. They got the Time's Journey here for Harley Didi. And Brazil has to think it through as well before they try to force out any team fights. But as of the moment, they have gotten back the goal lead that they had in the previous minutes. And now we see the Winter Truncheon play being made there by Dragon. Black is gonna go all the way in, trying to get the backline once again. There's the Detona's welcome by Buzizio, and they get Joel Crew! He doesn't have the go away of the Melissa. Here of that Detona's welcome, something massive for Brazil. The damage dealer is down, and they're taking what they can get. Inhibitors are slowly falling here. For the side of Brazil, but we might actually see just more clashes. Immortality is being popped here, and now Kin gonna try to get in Black with that retribution, and the rest of the members of Brazil gonna be backing away from this one. They're really low as Dragon doing his very best to try and take that with Zizo, but that's not gonna be a very easy job. That's really hard to take him down. He has all the defense items out of the moment, so
You know what's super difficult, Burger Kim? It's so difficult for a Barretts to pick up a marksman. I don't know what Buzizio did for him to be able to pick out Joel Crew there, but it was a miracle, to be honest, and it just results in Brazil getting the inhibitor. Imagine if Joel Crew stayed alive there. That might have meant they could have
yeah.
been able to defend. But no, Peru lost out on that one by losing on their marksman.
And it's big too. Like most of the time, you see Black doing his job, like taking down Joel Crew, and you see that it forces Joel Crew here to pop in the go away, the ultimate of the Melissa. And once again, wow, these pickoffs are just huge before the Lord. And as of the moment, we're seeing Peru going over here to the Lord's side. Kin is a little bit too far. There's minion waves as well moving towards the side of Peru's base, so someone has to clear that out. So I think that's something that Brazil wants, right? Like, go back to your base. There's a huge thick minion wave on the top side. And now Upatizi Headshots, Harley Didi there. And now this is forcing Peru to just back away. Such a smart move there by Brazil. The pick off by Luna and Upatizi there on the top side onto Dragon was big. And right after that, they joined in the team fight, Rockhart, and they just get in the Lord. Plus the fact that they cleared the wave on the top side. So there was just a lot of things for Peru to do. Should we contest for the Lord? Should we clear out the wave? And just smart move, smart micro and macro play here from Brazil. And now they got this Luminous Lord Rockhart. 22-minute Luminous Lord for Brazil.
It looks so difficult right now, and the TZ buff seems to be really taking effect here in Game 1 against Peru. Picking off Steffi means the wave clear is going to be so limited here for Peru. There was a last-ditch attempt for Quinn to try to slow down the offensive, but that's going to be Joel Crew going down even with Immortality. And that's going to be Game 1 going over to the Brazilian squad. It's best of 5.
Wow, it's a back and forth match. I'd say this is also one of the tightest matches that we've seen here in the IESF qualifiers. And Brazil was just able to hold out. I think what they did in the last few minutes of the game once again proved to be the key to win in those Lord fights. Those solo pickoffs by Upatizi, solo pickoffs by Steph. I got confused there. There was a solo kill onto Steffi and a solo kill onto Dragon there by Upatizi. So that was big before the Lord fight. You pick off one member and it just causes the other team to think it through if they want to contest for that objective, right?
Oh, man. And there were so many moments where the Brazilian squad really made the Peruvian squad contest. And they were forced into so many bad situations. Getting getting the Kadita picked off, like that's getting the Joel Crew, the marksman one. I don't know how they do this. I know how Brazil does this stuff, but we'll see the replays. Maybe that can shed some light in this one. Because I'll be honest,
Mm-hmm.
it was so messy all around in most of the team fights that we saw. I think the only sort of order that we see is every time that Luna pops the times journey here, and yeah, earlier it was super promising for Peru, right? The domination that was being done by Joel Crew in that goal lane basically forced the rest of the Brazilian squad to go down and answer. And when they did answer, you see the results right there, Burger Kim. It looked really good.
And this is the part where it actually took three members to take down Bozizio. And I think for Peru, right, they just really needed to pressure um, all across the map because of the way that Brazil will rotate, right? It's going to be Bozizio and Luna most of the time. And there was also that struggle by the struggle of Upatizi on the laning phase in the first few minutes that just proved to be something that Brazil had to take care of early on. But fortunately enough for them, they were able to actually put Upatizi on the top side and eventually, win in all of these clashes. I'd have to say too, Peru was just so smart in some of these clashes. Wherein they just, like what you mentioned, force out the times journey from Luna, and they go all the way in for the team fights. This was actually a major turnaround for Peru, where Harley Didi was just wrecking havoc against the members of Brazil. Fortunately enough for their side, though, this was the time that Buzizio was able to retrieve the Lord and still gets taken down, but still pretty worth it for Brazil.
I would say so. It does look very worth the way that they were taking some of the damage. They were taking some of the punishment from Steph in the early game. They paid it back. They paid it back so much. And I have to say that the Esmeralda was so promising, especially around early to mid. But in the late game, it was basically being ignored by Brazil here. And that's exactly the reason why I believe it was just so easy for them to kind of keep the Beatrix alive. The Beatrix could just
Mhm.
slide out, slide in whenever he wanted to. And there wasn't, aside from Steffi and the Quinn, there wasn't really much that
Mhm.
they could do to push it out. And that's the reason why a lot of teams they love to pick up the Lapu Lapu, they love to pick up the Arlot. It adds that layer of crowd control that your opponent has to deal with, so they can kind of deal with these marksmen. And without that, you know what? Look at Upatizi, basically no one to stop him aside from crowd control that's being thrown out, very big ultimate crowd controls, right? So you don't want to do that all the time. And so far, in the later parts of these team fights, you can really see that Brazil really made Peru work for it.
Plus, it's really big, right? Especially when Joel Crew is down. For Peru, they just really struggled with if they should attempt to go in for the steal or not. And I think for this game, Black is the unsung hero. Most of the time, we see it's Upatizi picking up the kills or Super Syndra popping in the real world manipulation, but we don't really see a lot of Black, right? He's so fearless with these dives. I mean, take a look at this, right? Black in the middle of everything, and he's just trying to take down Joel Crew. Or maybe I think it's really a big factor that he chunks Joel Crew down so low to the point that the rest of the members of Brazil, all they needed to do was just do the cleanup work. And for Black, yep, that was my job. It doesn't matter if he gets taken down, as long as their damage dealer is down, that should be okay for them. And this was the kill onto Dragon that actually was really major for Peru and sealed the deal for them to get in this game number one.
Yeah, you saw there the what I was talking about, right? Like, what was an Esmeralda gonna do against a Beatrix? And the Beatrix Upatizi really did shine in this game, and it's not by his own volition, right? He didn't shine just by individual plays. He's shown because the rest of the team were able to really keep him alive. And that's a good reason to pick out the Diggy. And again, I miss the Diggy. It's been a while since I've seen Diggy internationally and locally, so right now it is a really good spot. We're kind of back in a bit of an equilibrium where in the previous patches, basically it was difficult to it was the big moment for tank setters. And now with Diggy's back, we're gonna have a very good pick and bans for sure. And we're seeing that right here for game number 2 of Peru versus Brazil.
Ooh, that's going to be Brazil on the red side this time. So I'm not so sure if it's still going to be still the same patterns we're in. We've seen the Lancelot bands here coming through for Peru.
Welcome to my
They're
castle,
just taking
my
away
friend.
at this. Ooh, they're actually take away the Grok here for Peru. They might actually wanna force out some of these meta heroes out for their side, especially since they're on the blue side. 1-1 here for Brazil. So I think it's also a lot of limitations on Joel Crew and what he can actually pull off in this game. I would be surprised if the next ban here is Claude.
Oh yeah, I kind of just can feel it. Because even though Peru lost, right, I feel like the gold lane was just the shining light for Peru overall, and you want to slow that down as much as possible if you are Brazil. I won't man uh, a 5 man marksman ban. I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna be able to do that, but yeah, if they did that, I would not be surprised. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, there are also things that you have to deal
Oh.
with in the other side. I was gonna say the Joy, the Fanny, but Joy's already out. And Fanny, I actually haven't. Did we see that in the bans earlier? I don't think we did, right?
No, no, it was a
Yeah, I
Lancelot
really
ban
don't think so.
for Brazil. Yeah, we haven't seen that just
Yeah.
yet. So I haven't seen Kin on the Lancelot. So far it's only like the Akai. I've seen the Fredrin too for Kin and the Bane, right? So it's mostly like these a hybrid type of jungler. It's not really the assassin type. So it's more of like the sustain for Quinn. So not so sure if there are other heroes under his belt or maybe some secret picks. And this was something that really was a struggle for Peru. The final slash of the Arlot, especially going for the back lines, it was just so difficult for them to make in the place that they wanted. And Black really just goes to show that he really made an impact in game number one, and Peru is just respecting that fact. Now with Brazil down to their last ban, the Eve might actually be a thing here for Peru, right? That was also a good high ground that Brazil had. The upper hand that they had in team fights was that real world manipulation. Yes, they did have the Valentina, but it doesn't really have that void crystal or the those void crystal to slow down the opponent. So that was something big. But now Peru, we were talking about the Fanny. They're hovering over it as of the moment, but there's a lot open right now here, Rockhart. Glue is out, the Faramis Valentina. I think if Peru wants to go a safer choice, Valentina. But instead, yeah, this is the only region where I see the Lancelot being prioritized. It's comfort pick, I think.
I was thinking, is it really that high of a priority? But you know what? It's all about comfort, right? Yeah, these are
Mhm.
normally things you don't see elsewhere. Normally, elsewhere, it's always the mid priority. It's always the roam
Right.
prior or the marksman priority. Even I've seen regions where they always prioritize the marksman, but no, this is here we go for the Lancelot right away, and I love it. It makes up it makes for so spicy gameplay, right? And it forces your opponent
Hmm.
to kind of move in a kind of predictable direction. And what I didn't predict is the Uranus pick here. Interesting.
Oh, and almost immediately too, Rockhart, they lock in the carry to deal with that Uranus. So a great answer. There's a lot of backline access with the Lancelot of Kin. And just as I was saying, like I'm not so sure if he's comfortable with this. He's mostly on the fighter tank junglers, and I haven't seen this on him. I mean, okay, to be fair, he can actually build it up to be a tank slot, so it's a thing. And yeah, it's still the sustain type. And for Peru right now, there is the possibility of picking up a Valentina, or maybe if they wanna even it out with the high ground or the AOE, Farsa perhaps, or Faramis. Oh, and yeah, speaking of evening out the
All
high
right.
ground in the mid lane, they do pick up the Farsa. I mean, different this time, so no longer the Valentina. I mean, they completely ignored it. They're just like, okay, yeah, we'll just pick up the Farsa. It's open anyway.
Now there's a possibility that we might see a an Estes here if it does get picked up.
Hmm.
I
Looks
wouldn't
like
put
you
it past
can.
Brazil here, yeah, right? Estes
Hmm.
Luna, Diggy Luna maybe, or maybe something that can block it out a Lolita. I just
Hmm.
expect a roam here.
Oh, Lolita is actually also a good choice here for Luna. I think for both Peru and Brazil, they know very well that the roamers usually might actually reveal their heroes in the second phase. So again, the Beatrix had a good run. I think this time, even up against the carry, this shouldn't be that hard, right? Going up against a carry in the early game, you can poke. And now for Brazil, Steffi's heroes can pose to be a problem here. Kadita, right? That was a thing that Brazil really struggled with in game number one. I mean, it's a good thing that they had a Diggy, but yeah, the Kadita was really a problem for heroes like the Eve and the Beatrix, Super Syndra and Upatizi. You kind of see them thinking it like where they should actually position themselves in the clashes. So with that being said, with the Kadita being out, that should be a little bit more safe for Super Syndra and Upatizi. But again, there is still the Natalia threat here of Steffi that is actually can do well up against the Beatrix and the Eve.
Hmm. I'm still wondering. I understand that picking up the Beatrix, you kind of don't want to risk getting it banned out, but I'm not sure if that was worth it because now you will lose out on some really good roam opportunities. You might even lose out on the Estes if you think about it. And Akai
Hmm.
obviously is still a pretty good pick, but
Right.
that makes Brazil's lineup kind of linear if you think about it. Now,
Mm.
maybe you can also just say, you know what, Luna says, I got the Lolita. You know what? They're not gonna ban it out. I'm gonna try to counter this carry with like what I did in the previous few games, and it'll work out well. But right now, it does feel like that's what Peru's doing out. They're trying to think what else are we going to be able to ban out for Brazil,
Oh.
and as predicted, there it is. So Brazil, it seems like they do have this idea that you know what, I got so many heroes, I don't need to be worried. Maybe right, that's for Brazil.
Hmm. Just think about it, right? They could pick up the Akai here. I mean, both Preciso and Luna can actually use the Akai, or maybe the Lolita here is also a great CC for the side of Brazil. And Luna actually plays a really good Lolita, can be a killer Lolita as well. You've seen it in the previous days wherein he picked that up. But again, there is still don't have an idea what Steffi will pick up. I mean, just think about it. If Luna picks up the Lolita, and think about like Peru picking up the Diggy to cancel out the Numenon Blast. I mean, I haven't seen Steffi on other types of like support type of heroes, utility types of supports. It's mostly on like the killer type of roamer, right? So the Natalia and the Kadita's out. I'm thinking if Steffi will still go for that aggressive type of roamer, knowing that Luna right now is more of the setter type of tank.
Yeah, there it is. It's the set that we're looking for here for Luna. I mean, I know he plays a really good Diggy, he plays a really good Estes, but you know what I've been looking forward to is these big Numenon Blast plays. It's great against the carry. Number one, you don't get laser down,
Mm-hmm.
and number two, you kind of just make sure that the Farsa also has to worry about this positioning, about these feathered airstrikes.
Oh, and still being the aggressive type of roamer, Kaja here to yeah, this is a great answer to the Eve, one of the heroes that can actually cancel the real world manipulation. I pointed out the Akai here that could be also confusing for Peru, right? Like who's going to use it? Is it Luna or is it Buzizio? So another signature pick coming through from Brazil, and they lock this in. This time, Brazil also has a decent amount of CC, right? The Lolitas, Numen Blast, and the heavy spin here from the Akai. But what I'm looking forward to here is definitely we're gonna see a lot of team fights here. Like Kaja, you see the Turista of Dragon here as well that can just use a flicker and penalty zone, especially on the back line. So that's some again without the Kadita, without the Natalia, that's all right. But they still have to worry about all these aggressive dives that will come through for Peru, and they seem to be a team that is very comfortable with plays like that, being very aggressive. So let's see if game number two will be Peru's game or will it be will it be Brazil's game?
Overall, both teams, Burger King, they chose violence. And you want a team fight? We want a team fight. We got Numino Blast, we got some heavy spins going out here, some big penalty zones, and even a Divine Judgment. So, loading up into the game, I am so excited to see what's going to be the result of game number two. I like you, I am expecting a lot of big wombo combo team fights coming out from both teams.
Yeah, looking at the lineup of both sides, right? It's just screaming team fights after team fights. Farsa Eve, the Lolita, and the Kaja, right? These are types of heroes that can initiate, and even I think both junglers, right? They can initiate team fights. So, um, we can expect to see that as compared to game number one, wherein Brazil was more of answering out to the aggression of Peru, like with the Diggy canceling out all those CCs. So this time, Brazil has their fair share of CCs in this game as well. So we're seeing a lot of uh, wave clear here from the mid side, and you see Upatizi as well doing a lot of pressure there on the gold lane, knowing that this Beatrix definitely has the upper hand up against Joel Crew, but. If you guys can remember the last time or the last game that Peru had up against this carry, Joel Crew actually dished out a lot of damage with this carry. So you can, um, they're just actually expecting that to be one of the keys here for victory of Peru. Harley Didi, a little bit too deep there, doesn't have
Oh!
the wings by wings. And there you go, the dive from Black to seal the deal. And Brazil will be picking up the first blood in this game.
All right, and that was a very worth flicker there for Black. It was relatively easy cleanup if you think about it, but you look at this. Quinn actually has a pretty good level advantage as well, so they can definitely go for a turtle fight here. But don't forget, Bazizio also is very close by. They're all actually same in experience. So no Numenon Blast means there's gonna be a bit of a limit on what Luna can do. Steffi as well. They're trying
Mhm.
to beat each other out. Who gets level 4 first? It's me, says Luna. And there goes the Numenal Blast. It's going to be backstep flickered in straight
Oh!
into the last log. And that's going to be Bazizio with the turtle. What a beautiful play from Brazil.
Wow, the Dominant Blast is completely caught Quinn off guard. And right after that, the follow up from the Brazilian members. And now Black is going to be the casualty here. The penalty zone and the feathered airstrike. Too much to take in for this guy. But fortunately enough for Brazil, right? This is a great start for them. I mean, it's Peru is also one of the teams wherein they can be super aggressive in the start. So Brazil is just catching up with the tempo that they have. And once again, we have to put our focus here on the gold lane. A lot of pressure being exerted here by Steffi's Kaja. I think even at this point, right? Like as long as Steffi shows himself, you don't really know when he's gonna go for the flicker divine judgment. So for Brazil, right? That's again something that they have to watch out for. Luna as well, the slows from Super Syndra. Let's see if there will be any initiate, but it's only for the little wanderer that still went to Brazil.
Yeah, really in those moments, time slows down, right? And you really have to make big decisions whenever you see a Numenor Blast charging up. Luna didn't even hide it. He wasn't even hiding in the bush. He showed up, right? So, very interesting the way that Brazil is playing here. Straight to the face of Peru. But right now, there is still some opportunity for Peru. I know slowing down the Lancelot is super important. We also have to think about how the carry is doing, right? So far, I
Hmm.
think Joel Crew is not having a bad day at the very least. Very same level with Upatizi. So there's still a very good chance that Peru could actually make a comeback here.
Yeah, it's good too that Black is containing containing Dragon here in this lane. If not, it's going to be much easier for Dragon to join in the team fights, and that's a lot more additional CC for the side of Peru, especially in objectives such as this turtle. That is massive for the side of Brazil. And once again, they pick it up. There's a Numinous Blast and the real world manipulation. No casualties for both sides, and Brazil still leading this one. You see how Black is just all around the map. He's just gonna join in. They even tank up the towers to get in the stacks of that consecration, and eventually just being able to do in all those dives. At the same time, it is. If you think about it, right, Rockhard, this is three tanks for the side of Brazil: the Akai,
Oh
the
yeah.
Uranus, and the Lolita. So this is just pretty good, especially for an Eve and a Beatrix that can that has like heavy frontline for their side.
Yeah, as the kids would say, Brazil be tanky AF, and they really are right now. It makes it so easy for Upatizi to actually flourish in the team fights. Again, as long as he doesn't get whittled down by a penalty zone or he doesn't get targeted by Steffi. So that makes Steffi's
Mhm.
job so much harder because it's Upatizi. He is the main guy that you want to pull in here, aside from obviously Super Syndra.
And here's the thing about Dragon, right? He hasn't been able to get out of that lane. Care of Black. There's the Numinum Blast there from Luna once again. Zone away the members. The Feather Dare Strike as well by Harley DD. They're unable to get anything, but that is going to be Buzizio. A little bit of overextension there. He actually tanked up the tower and eventually was taken down there by Kin. So there was the punish also coming through from Peru.
Yeah, very good punishment. Again, this is exactly what they need to do if they don't want to get just whittled down and just pushed back, bullied
Mhm.
in the lanes here by Brazil. And that's important. If you're in this game, it's all about mindset now. You must not be bullied. You have to make sure you have to show Brazil that you know what, we still have some fight. We will threaten it with you with it. We will make sure that we don't stay under our towers. We need to get some of that XP. We need to get some of that gold coming in from these waves. So it's a good way to make sure that you still have farm, even though obviously Brazil has so much more engaged tools.
And you see Ken being zoned away there by both Buzizio, and now Luna gonna get that Divine Judgment and unable to survive that. Here comes Upadizi to do the cleanup work. That's two members down. Double kill for the gold laner of Brazil. And that was just the plan for Luna. Yeah, it's fine. I can soak up the damage as long as Upatizi gets those kills. Four members down instantly here for the side of Peru as they're able to take down mid and top side. Massive for Brazil. This is actually quite different from the game that they had for game number one, where it was still quite slow for them in the start, and they were able to pick up the pace eventually mid to late game.
I mean, you can only flex so hard for so long, right? Eventually, Brazil's gonna figure out, you know what? You guys are trying to extend too much. You don't really have the firepower yet. And when Brazil realized that, it looked so easy for them to take that fight, right? To take that tower, even.
You see as well, Joel Crew moving towards this bottom side to go up against. I mean, that should relatively be easier than going up against Upatizi. But for Brazil, they know that very well. Speaking of Upatizi, that is the Malefic Roar picked up. So BOD and Malefic Roar already, plus the Weapons Master on the Beatrix. So expect to see those one shot. Well, not a one shot, one kill, but definitely a lot more damage from this Beatrix right now. We might actually see a clash once again being initiated. Joel Crew getting trapped in that real world manipulation and the heavy
Oh,
spin. Too
man.
much to take. Steffi as well. Upatizi just wrecking havoc here against the members of Peru. Just virtually a different game here for Brazil. They got a great lead, and now seems to be that they're just working their way and getting as much towers as they can. I think it's a big factor too that Black was able to let Dragon stay in this lane. If not, it would have been much harder for Brazil to win in all those clashes. The penalty zone, right? The divine judgment as well from the Kaja are things that the Brazilian team is watching out for. And now 9 minutes in, they're wasting no time, going straight to this Lord. Not unless there's gonna be a possible steal here. Okay, Kin. Not so sure he will be able to take this one. Numenon blast from the backside. And Luna flickers in the nick of time to get Upatizi that kill. It was just all according to plan here for the side of Brazil. The Lord and the takedown on Kin in this game. And so far, Kin, right? This first pick Lancelot, but it hasn't shined just yet. Care of Brazil being the aggressive ones this time, and now Joel Crew as well gonna fall down up against four members here of Brazil.
You know what? When you get to a point where the Beatrix is just flickering in, and you know what, Luna's just going for the the flashy Numenon blast plays. You kind of
Mhm.
know already, right, that Brazil is in such a good spot. They're basically using their battle spells offensively, make it so look so easy, right? But now it's gonna be the big test for the Peruvian squad. How are they gonna climb their ways out of this one?
Oh, I like how this Uranus is currently working well for the side of Brazil, despite the fact that there's a lot of heroes that can burst this down too. So Black is pretty much also someone that can engage or make in the plays aside from Brazilio and Luna. So this time Brazil has a lot more kits to work with. Here goes the FP spin. Dragon dives in to his death. And now Upatizi proving to be really deadly here, causes the members of Peru to back away. They get in this tower, and almost taken down Joel Crew there with the sniper. Still alive and kicking. Brazil, 10k gold lead here, Rockhard.
Yep, 10k gold lead. That seems like it should be it. This game looked a lot easier for Brazil. Although right now, again, they still have to put the nail in the coffin here. Still some very good wave clear coming in from Peru. There it goes. There's what we're talking about. Big feather airstrike hits. Oh my goodness. Look at that Bennett's rage. It felt almost the same damage as one hit of feathered airstrike. Now, man, that's a mage Beatrix if I've ever seen one, with some really good nuking. And again, that still means that Peru will stay alive. They got that wave clear coming in from the far side, from long range, which means it's still going to be up to Brazil to finish it.
Wow, it's the Haas clause as well here for Upatisi. So expect to see life steal coming out from this, especially when he's forced in a spot that it's tight and he can actually have that additional life steal when it is critical. And looking at the items here, 9k going 10k here for Upatisi. He hasn't been shut down just yet by Peru. This is spectacular considering the fact that there's a lot of heroes to pick him off, and it's just Brazil, right? Like what I mentioned, three tanks to soak up all the damage. So pretty much Upatizi is just having a great time here with this Beatrix, knowing where to position. There's a lot of heroes that they need to take down first before they can reach him, and even Super Syndra right here, they can't even reach him. Zero deaths on the damage deals of Brazil. This is crazy. And I think for Peru, they're just doing their very best, right? They're just gonna give away the sword for the tower on the top side. The next best thing that they can do.
Looks so good for
Kid.
Brazil, but they must not be complacent. Look at the top side, man. You gotta send more than just black to go there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's gonna be Upatizi with the kill for some reason out of nowhere. I was a little surprised by that. They still come out on top here a little bit. Obviously, Brazil are now on the chase. Upatizi just going non-stop. One of the scariest forces in the land of Dawn right now. Question
Harley
is, what is he
Didi!
gonna do? Is he gonna stay alive? Oh no, Harley Didi can't really fly away out of that one. Even Joel
Joel
Crew
Cruz
without
running for
any
his
front
life.
line will have to make a run for the hills. Oh my goodness, he will be saved at least by Dragon and Steffi, but for how long?
2 down, massive for the side of Brazil. They picked off Harley Didi. That was like a real world manipulation. At that point, Harley Didi wasn't even sure if he was gonna pop the feathered airstrike. Right, he was caught in the middle of the Brazilian team, and right now they are not stopping just yet. And now Luna. The Luminant Blast gets cancelled out by the penalty zone, and here comes the Lord. Brazilian members are still up. They're going to try to soak up the damage as the Lord is knocking in the base here of Peru. There's the kill onto Luna, but at what cost? It's still going to be Quinn falling. Lord as well is down, and Brazil is not going to overcommit. There is a minion wave here. Upatizi's really low, so they have to think it through here. Not so sure if they can end this one just yet. And fortunately enough for Quinn, he was able to take down Luna before he can even pop in more of those Luminous Blasts.
Yeah, Peru is gonna be living for at least another minute before they will have to fall and make another attempt at a team fight. Because if they lose these team fights, it is going to be so difficult. Harley Didi has to stay alive and clear these waves. But once more, Joel Crew just trying to see if he can get some damage on the tankier members of Brazil here.
Look at the gold here of Black. I mean, the Avarice emblem seems to be paying off here for Black. He's been going non-stop at the members here of Peru. He's next to Upatizi. He has the most gold here for the side of Brazil, and it's all thanks to him just doing Uranus things up against the members of Peru, making sure that he gets those stacks up, making sure that he soaks up the damage here for the side of Brazil, and wow, after all of that, they were actually able to take down all the inhibitors here for the side of Peru.
Yeah, right now, I think even with all the inhibitors down, again, as long as Harley Didi stays alive, I believe that Peru can still kind of clear, right? So it has to be a pretty significant fight, win on the team fight if Brazil wants to be able to push this out. Or maybe all they're waiting for is maybe this Lord. But again, you saw even earlier with the Lord, Harley Didi has some pretty good wave clears still alongside Dragon. So yeah, it's gonna be a big question mark whether or not how Brazil is gonna finish this game.
Brazil, though, they have the firepower, they got the artillery here, and Buzizio knocking up this door. But look at the members here of Brazil, Rockhart. Are they planning to go for that backdoor play? Because it's only Harley Didi there. There is that flicker by Luna. There's a minion wave, and you know what? They just baited out on Lord, and they're going to end the game right there behind the backs of the Peru team, and they get in game number 2.
And of course, as the great Admiral Akbar from the Star Wars series would say, it's a trap. It was all a trap, and it was just enough for Brazil to actually take out that game without having to commit to a massive team fight or any big objective. So basically, they answered what we were saying earlier. How are they gonna put the nail in the coffin for this one? Basically, just do a feint. That was one way to finish a game, Burger King.
Yeah, I was like, that looks too familiar. That looks too familiar. That looked like an Echo game, actually. It's like Shades of Echo, right? Like the same heroes, actually. That's why I got that idea. I was like, wait, I think they're planning something here. That 4-man, I think Luna was able to flicker in, right? Was able to stun Harley Didi. If he didn't, that would have been, turned out differently. And Buzizio just did a very good job, let's pretend that I'm actually gonna take this Lord, but we have other plans. So they just fell into the trap for Peru, and it's just um, well, for me, I think this is one of the. I mean, if I were Peru, it's one of the frustrating ways to actually end the game. We're in like you're both like doing well, right? That you're both answering out to each other, but eventually, all they needed to do was just lock in the base, and it's just game over. It's just wow. Brazil one more win away actually from this best out of five, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, yeah, just one
Yeah,
more. Oh, so yeah, they're point.
yeah. Basically, Brazil is at match point and qualifier point. So if they win this next game, it's them flying, and that's gonna be really something. And I have to say that that game ended a little bit quicker than I thought it would. I really thought it was gonna be like a really hard fought battle, and I didn't
Mm-hmm.
expect it to get to a point where you are at 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, and you know what? The Beatrix is flickering in. He's so confident,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you were able to really dominate in the early stages of the game. I was thinking maybe, you know what? It's a Lancelot. Maybe it could control that mid game. It's a beautiful Farsa pick, but somehow it was just nullified by some beautiful dives. Luna and Bazizio really making good work of this team so far.
Yeah, and I think for Brazil, this is actually a game that they were actually able to dominate from early to mid, right? And for Peru, they just really struggled all across the map. A really big factor here was Upa TZ winning on the lane. And this is exactly what he did. He knows his upper hand up against a carry, and it just worked so well. And by the 10-minute mark, he was just able to dish out so much damage up against the Peru team. And I think at this point, Rockhart, the debate between like a Farsa and an Eve, right? I love how both of these mages have high ground, but the Eve just has so much more to work with, right? The slows that the void crystals provide and the real world manipulation just proves to be something really difficult for Peru in the team fight. So twice in a row, actually, Super Syndra has picked up this Eve, and it just was a game changer in a lot of the clashes. I mean, even though in game number one Peru was able to pick up the Valentina, it's just different if you have the Eve up here.
Yeah, and I think I also see a reason why Valentina is definitely a great hero to get banned out if you are Brazil. You just basically
Mm-hmm.
slow down your opponent, and they can't really do any flashy surprise plays to pick off your mid lane. And
Mm-hmm.
if your mid lane is doing good, if Super Syndra doesn't have any problems, you know what? It looks really easy for Brazil. The rest of the lanes are following suit. They can gank, they can roam very efficiently, and that resulted to them just making a very quick work of that game. So far so good here for Brazil. They're playing exactly how I expected them to, but I was really hoping that Peru would make it a lot more even. I was hoping maybe game
Mm-hmm.
we're at a 1-1 right now, but right now it seems that Peru needs to kind of get back on the drawing board. How are they gonna deal with the powerful mid lane combos of Brazil here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so far there's a lot of comfort picks that were given, right? In the first two games here for Brazil, Beatrix twice picked up by Upatizi, so perhaps like Peru can actually do some deny picks for the next phase, or maybe even get a very good high ground as well, like the Eve. So something to consider as well. And it's just so unpredictable, right? Like what type of play style Brazil wants to put out. And as for Peru, right, there's also a massive shift of play style that they had in this particular series when we're in the heroes here of Steffi were limited, so the Kadita and the Natalia was already out, and that is just so smart for Brazil to do because it just creates so much more room for them to move around the map.
Yeah, and if you have that much room to move around the map, man, you can do whatever the heck you want, and that's exactly what Upatizi did as well, right? I was super surprised by how aggressive they were playing, especially on that Beatrix. So, you are now prime candidate for bans, Upatizi. Both games, you just really played your heart out on that Beatrix, and I'm pretty sure that Peru has probably realized that by now, and it is a good way to maybe slow down and maybe test the comfort pick of Brazil.
Because Upatizi so far it's mostly on the Beatrix, so you haven't seen another hero like maybe a Melissa, right? Could work out well for Upatizi, but he's more of the aggressive type of gold laner, right? Like where have you seen like a gold laner flickering in to get the kill? And it just goes to show what type of player Upatizi is as well. I mean, he has a TZ in his name for a reason,
Yeah.
right? Very aggressive, takes inspiration as well from the TZ brothers from across the globe, all the way here in the Philippines. So yeah, Upa TZ's hero, I think also a good mid lane combo should probably do the trick here for
Thorns
Peru. We're
remain,
going into
should
game number
petals
3
fall.
here for Brazil. One more win away to get in that slot to Romania this year. And now for Brazil, okay, they're wasting no time, banning away still the Lancelot of Quinn here. That is again, it's scary to go up against this Lancelot, right? Like it can actually just pop in that Thorn Rose in and just take in the objective. Brazil, they have to consider here as well what they want to pick up here since they're on the blue side. So Valentina bans could come through if they want to pick up the Eve once again for this round.
Yeah, I hope the TZ brothers are watching and hope the Upa TZ will make them proud. But other than that, I still hope that Peru can make it into a closer series right now because it does feel like
Mhm.
there is going to be a strong momentum coming in from Brazil now, which means that they could be feeling so much more confident in this game. And we have seen in the past where when they're confident, when they win game one, they usually win out game two, right? We've seen that so many times in this tournament. I wonder if that's going to be true here as well for Brazil.
And so far, if I'm not mistaken, they did a lot of marksman bans in the first phase. But they're also wasting no time. This was a problem for them in game number 1. Actually, I would actually ban out the Kadita as well. It just has a lot of possible combos, very deadly combos. So for Brazil, right, they're taking away these assassins that can take down Upatizi or Super Senra. So still wise choice. I think they want to leave like yeah, perhaps the Eve would still be a prio pick here for Brazil. Not unless Peru wants to shake things up, ban away the Eve. That is just a big problem in team fights.
Hmm. Now the
Vanquished
big
is
thing
not
about
an
Brazil is
accident.
they really love those team fights, right? So maybe that's something that
Mm-hmm.
Peru can attack here. Maybe ban out some of these big setter heroes, which we did see was just so good. It was just so good right here in the previous game. Free tank combo, right? I mean, how are you
Mm-hmm.
gonna deal with that, Burger King though?
Oh, so they're taking away okay the 1-1 here. Surprisingly enough, usually it's on the red side. The red side takes away the 1-1. Hmm. Looking at the draft here, there's just a lot of good combos. You know what? I haven't seen the Novaria just yet. I think it's still quite underrated. Maybe because it's new, it needs some time to sit in the meta first. But I think it's just good as well in team fights, and we haven't seen so much of the teams adjust to this pick yet. We've seen teams pick it up, but not fully utilize her rather to its fullest potential. I was talking about the Eve, and I think it's just wise for
There
Peru
it
to do
is.
this. Brazil loves those team fights, and this Eve just proved to be such a a threat, a difficult matter to deal with, despite the fact that they had a Kaja. And now Brazil, will they start it up with the classic Valentina, the classic Faramis for their first pick, or the Glue that is open, by the way?
Hmm. All right. So the glue is definitely great, but there is an answer if you try to pick it up in the
Mhm.
first phase of the game. So it's not the only answer. It's not the only good first pick right now, right? But actually, so many. First, the okay, they go with the glue, but then you get answered with a Faramis and maybe a Valentina. We've seen them do this, right? I don't remember if it was Peru
Mhm.
who did the Valentina Faramis combo in the mid lane. But if they did that, it would be a very powerful one at that. Although they will lose out on the big roam tanks, so that's a trade off you're gonna have to choose. Or you could go for a pause for a mid lane Faramis.
What's really scary here? Because Peru can just pick up that Faramis and Valentina. Like they're both
That
available
is
here
true.
right now. Just leaving with Brazil with something else because I haven't seen Super Syndra on another hero. But wow, okay. Speaking of comfort as well, Peru was like, we're gonna completely ignore those two heroes. We're just gonna pick up heroes that we're comfortable with. The Natalia that was a kryptonite up against Argentina now makes it way here to our match point, and they definitely need to put up these heroes that can cause a lot of pressure on the lanes, especially for Upatizi and Super Syndra. Now, what's left to take here? Will they go for Valentina Faramis combo here for Brazil? But still deadly
Um,
up against the claw. Like one blazing duet's just enough, right, to seal the deal.
yeah, I don't think you pick both of them, but definitely one of them will be picked up.
Mhm.
Um, and the other one could be still a marksman or a
Mhm.
strong jungle pick. I don't know if it's Fredrin, maybe. Yeah, there's a
Oh,
marksman. All right, none of them gets picked up. What? All right.
this is just
Ah,
different, right? Both haven't revealed their mid laners yet.
yeah. So, are we gonna see like a battle of the mid lane bans here
Mhm.
in the
Yeah,
fourth and the fifth pick? That's interesting. Usually they're the ones who get prioritized in the draft, but somehow
right.
they are lagging behind them.
Hmm. No, they haven't revealed their well, for Peru they've already revealed their roamers. So if they want to go again, here's the thing, right? The Valentina Faramis in the mid lane, or maybe even the Farsa. So I guess this is the safest choice, right? A lot of ultimates to pick up here. The split of the glue is going to be crucial. But I like this Brody pick, Rockhard. I don't know about you, but I like this Brody pick. It's a marksman that can defend up against itself. I mean, with the threat of the Natalia as well, the second of the Brody can, defend itself from the Natalia. It can also build itself to be pretty tanky as well. Like I see some Brody users pick up the brute force breastplate first before they go for the BOD. So one of the most underrated marksman heroes, I would say.
100%. That the thing you mentioned where it's super what do you call that? Super durable compared to other
Mhm.
marksmen makes it not so scared of heroes like the Natalia, which again, if you're Brazil, you always have to think about the Natalia. Now, normally if you pick up the Beatrix, it'll be destroyed. Now it will not be, it'll be a lot safer. So that's a big thing that that Brazil has going for them. But right now, I don't think it's going to be too hard for Peru to come up with a counter here, as they do have the option to go for maybe a more steady jungle compared to
Mhm.
Fredrin. Don't forget, we still have that for some reason, right? They still leave the Faramis open, and now the Faramis can't get picked up by Peru. So I don't know why they're
Mhm.
not banning that out yet. I feel like it's such a good pick for Brazil now. Peru should really ban out that Faramis. Oh, it's
Oh,
the Diggy
this is
ban.
interesting. Diggy ban. Okay, it does make sense here for the side of Peru. It gives vision to the side of Brazil, especially with the time bombs. So it's mostly like Luna heroes here for the next, yeah, Luna heroes for the last two picks here. And for Brazil, I think to go up against the glue here, a great answer is the Charizla. I'm wondering is it going to be a ban on Dragon's heroes, or is it going to be on Kin's heroes? Like so far, Kin has picked up the Akai previously, Bane as well. So maybe they can center towards those bans. I would say like Terizla should be banned out here. Difficult to go up against it. Okay, so they're opening up the Terizla. Or I was saying either the Terizla or Akai, right? So they're gonna go for the Akai. Definitely um, difficult, especially when there's the heavy spin. Then you combine it with the Blazing Duet of the Claude. I like this. They're hovering over different picks. Martis is also one of the heroes that we've seen in the first few days, but haven't just yet. So let's see what Peru will pick up. But knowing them very well, they just love to go for the dives. They love to go for the aggressive. So I think aggressive type of roamer and definitely aggressive type of jungler.
I would love to see a very aggressive roamer here and the jungle options. Because Peru, from the looks of it, what they're trying to do here is they're trying to go for a very glass cannon lineup where they just really want to fight, fight, fight. So pure offense, almost zero defense right now. So even the roamer is like an execute type. I believe this is definitely going to be an execute roam, Natalia. So yeah, their XP lane has to be one beefy boy, most likely the Terizla, right? If you still want to go for defense,
Mm-hmm.
also with some of that offensive capabilities baked in.
Ooh, the Lunox once again. I think this is the case wherein there's a lot of threat on the opponent's side, and usually the mid laner would pick up heroes that can defend up against itself. Somebody that has a lot more mobility. Kagura and the Lunox are actually both good picks. I like this Rafaela, something that is often overlooked when you're going up against the Natalia, right? Like the Natalia is invisible, and the Rafaela just brings the light in. And with the Rafaela skills, you can check in the bushes. Especially, this is something that Brazil needs, but it's not really the type of hero that can engage or make the plays. It's mostly going to be either Black or Bozizio here that will try to be the ones to engage, especially since this is going to be Luna's hero.
I completely agree. I feel like Rafaela is such an underrated hero. I can't believe I also mentioned this hero when I was talking about
Earlier,
possible
yeah.
healers in the game earlier. I can't believe it's making an appearance, but yes, this is exactly what you need to do when there's a Rafaela. There's just so much vision that you can provide, especially to counter a Natalia, and there it is. We're talking about a great XP lane pickup. That's gonna be the Trizla, basically completing the lineup here for Peru. Now, again, I love me some of those very offensive glass cannon lineups, but there's a reason why it doesn't get picked up a lot, right? You have to be very careful with the tower dives. You have to be very careful with your engages because you're not really beefy. You're gonna have a hard time surviving. So you need to kill your opponents quickly and decisively. If you don't, then you will be forced to play defensively, and you don't want to play those that way with the kind of heroes that Peru has right now.
And here's the thing too about like the Rafaela, right? There is the vision, especially I think for Luna, there is going to be a lot of the rotations here of Brazil will focus around the gold lane. But let's head over straight into the land of Dawn. This is the match point for the Brazilian team. One more win away from Romania, but it looks like Peru as well. You know what, Rockhart? I'm not so sure if you remember the game of Peru yesterday, but this was the exact same lineup that turned the tides around up against Argentina. Natalia, Terbizla, and the Claude. This was pretty much the dive setup that they've had in the previous series, which is what made them reach this point actually to go up against Brazil.
Is this that exact same lineup? It looks familiar, but it didn't feel like.
Yeah, right.
Wow, really? If that's the case, then you know what? Peru basically going for broke here. They said, you know what? All of our cards on the table are our best picks. And let's see if we can make it work. And so far, yeah, with the early game, they're definitely making it work. Oh, there is a counter here. Luna going to this lane means that you don't have to be super scared of that Natalia.
Yeah, the high and dry emblem too, right? It just poked so much from the side of Brazil. You see that Upatizi and Luna are really, really low HP right now. They can't afford to back away from this one, so they're gonna do their best to sustain. Here comes Fazizio as well, but it's going to be this most of the time, right? It's not up until Upatizi is able to do well. And looking at this XP lane, this Black actually might have a difficult time up against this Terizla of Dragon. He can sustain, but I mean, without the ultimate just yet, there is not much he can do. So you're gonna be focused on that lane, and especially the penalty zone as well. It's gonna be too much to handle for the glue.
That's true. Although again, as time goes by, that glue will just get tankier and more difficult
Hmm.
for Peru to kill. So if you think about it, time is actually racing against them right now. So they gotta kind of speed it up as well. If Peru wants to make this lineup work, they gotta do it in the early to mid game.
Hmm. Here's the Lord here by Buzizio. Oh, but again, the steal by Kin. Ah, man, the retribution for this guy. You kind of see why they use all their resources to zone him away. And now Harley Didi is going to be the first blood. Super Syndra as well, caught in the back line from that decimation of Kin. And still, they're going to go for more here. Dragon going to be the target of Split Split. And not much longer as Black is going to be able to detach himself. Bottom side as well, you see Upatizi getting a lot of pressure, getting baited out there by Joel Crew. Still survives that one. Here comes Luna as well. Joel Crew might get punished. Okay, BMI's out of that one, and Luna arrives just in the nick of time.
Yeah. Right now, Super Syndra in the mid lane of Brazil might be the slower lane that, you know what, the rest of Peru can punish, but they're not going for that. They're going for the other lanes here right now. And that's a surprising bit for me. In itemization and in gold wise, we're actually quite even all across the board here. And if that's the case, I wonder who's actually ahead here, Burger King. If at 3.5 minutes, we are even in farm.
Even in the kills, right? Like it's just a 1-for-1 trade here. But for the lineup here of Peru, this is a lineup that can really bully in the early game. So far we've seen that. We've seen the pressure on the gold lane, but they haven't been so successful just yet. The XP lane is quite contained as well for both Black and Dragon. And here comes Steffi. There's a split from Black, attaches himself to Dragon, and now here comes Buzizio. There is the penalty zone here. He's able to sustain with the Festival of Blood, but gets taken down there by the side of Peru. Here comes Steffi as well. Black in trouble. Parladidi as well onto Buzizio. He's at half HP. And now here's the turtle. Oh, look at that Prazer's Wrath onto Kin right before the turtle is up. Major for Brazil. They pick up 2 kills and heading straight over to the turtle.
Man, Brazil just making it look so easy right now to re-engage, and even their tanky heroes like Black and Buzizio, they're actually outputting some really decent damage.
You know, Steffi too, right? We've seen like an assist. We've seen the pressure on Steffi, but this time for Brazil, what makes it easier for them is the light that Luna brings here to this game. I mean, it's just so much more easier to know, like especially when you get the first skill of the Rafaela up, right? It should be enough to locate where Steffi is. And this is actually why they picked up the Lunox, right? You got the brilliance to escape all the possible threat coming in from Steffi. And okay,
Oh!
yep, he's able
So close.
to go back to the base that was close for comfort. I just love how Steffi is just so aware of where the low HP members are. I mean, if you're an execute Natalia, you just really want to go for kills after kills here in this game. And yeah, Luna isn't making it easy for him.
Yeah, and so far, the Brazilian squad overall is not really making it easy for Peru to push out, to get some of these golds from the turret, to get any of these neutral objectives. And that lead is steadily growing. We're at 1.7k right now. And again, Brazil just waiting for the next opportunity to take these team fights. They're finding that so far. But again, there's still some things that Peru can try to do here. And one of those is maybe spot out Super Syndra or Luna all alone, but that's not happening right now. Super Syndra got some damage on this Lunox. Actually, gonna take out Quinn as well without even a fight. That is massive for Brazil with 15 seconds on the next turtle.
You know what's great here about Brazil, right? Like, you see a lot of the rotations here from Luna, Buzizio, and Upatizi. As long as Buzizio is up, you're not gonna be. It's not gonna be so easy to burst down Upatizi, especially even with Steffi around. There's a sustain from Luna. There's the vision being provided here by Brazil, and now it's just great that they just answer out to what Peru wants. Like, okay, if they want to clash, they want to dive in, let them dive. It's fine. We can take care of it, and they don't really have that much of crowd control, maybe except for yeah, they just have the Blazing Duet here and the penalty zone to go in for those dives. But other than that, Brazil has been, you know, doing wonders, getting in both turtles of the game. Actually, I think all the turtles of the game were taken in by Brazil. 21K for them right now as compared to Peru. And Steffi hasn't been able to, pressure a lot of Upatizi on the lane. And looking at his items so far, he's going for the BOD already.
Yeah, actually, that's massive, right? If you're fighting offense, you got to go offense as well. And that's exactly what Brazil is doing. Although right now, it's still a long time before the next Lord, so I don't think either team wants any pickoffs to happen. But right now, we're seeing the worst case scenario happen for Peru. I mentioned this earlier. Um, you don't want to be just staying under your base and just waiting for the trickle gold to pop in. If you draft a lineup like this, it's supposed to go offensive. And this is the worst case scenario for the Peruvian lineup if they're just stuck on the base, just wait for the minions to
Mhm.
arrive, right? And I wonder if that's going to be enough for Joel Crew to mount a comeback on this Claude.
Oh, I think for Upatizi as well, Black here able to sustain. There's a split. That's a lot of ultimates being used just to take down Black. And while all of that is being said, Rockhart, you see how Upatizi doesn't have any kills yet. He's just slowly pushing in the lanes, making sure that Brazil gets in those objectives. And Brazil knows that very well. Let's give in a fight up against Peru. There's the praises rat. Steffi unable
Oh!
to escape that one. It's a low kill score count here. 8 minutes in, Rockhard. 5-2. Usually at by this time you'd see like a lot of kills already, especially with the lineup of Peru, right? You got the Turizla, you got the Martis, and you got the Natalia. So this is Brazil just containing the members of Peru, and they even got the Lord to boot here. And that's gonna be Brazil picking this one up 9 minutes in. Virtually the same thing that happened in game number two.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing for Peru here is again this Rafaela pick. That's the reason why Brazil were able to contain the aggression. Steffi can't make any aggressive moves without being basically sacrificing his health. And Harley, at the same time, can Quinn. They're kind of predictable when they come in. You know when the Valentine is gonna come in, right? So makes it so hard for Peru to make any significant engages.
Mm. Usually, they're putting their focus on Black. Really, that's not really the target that you want to go for. But he's the one. He's pretty much using this blue, similar to the Uranus, right? Just soak up as much damage as he can. That's totally fine. And now Steffi as well, and Arditi, they aren't able to do much. Like while they're putting their focus on Black, the rest of the members here of Brazil are just taking in all the objectives here. You see the Malefic Roar on Upatizi too, which kind of goes to show like this is going to be a Brody that has insane burst damage and can push towers really fast. The only way to contain Upatizi here, either the dive from the Dragon Servisla or maybe even a Blazing Duet here from Joel Crew that we haven't seen just yet.
Again, best case scenario for Peru is to just hold, right? Clear those minion waves. No, they want to go for a team
Oh!
fight, and they're gonna be the ones who are gonna get punished. Everyone's still alive here for Brazil. What's it gonna be, Quinn? Can you pull off the massive decimate? It's gonna be a
Oh!
no. It's only Steph alive here for Peru, and it's looking really, really bad. Brazil, they just took that team fight out of nowhere from Peru's fingertips.
Okay, like I'm trying to remember what went on there. I actually thought it was gonna be Peru that had an upper hand there. They got the penalty zone, but the positioning of Upatizi and Super Cinder was able to pop in the brilliance in the nick of time. But now, fortunately enough, dead timers are still pretty low, so they are back up here, but inhibitors are gone. Wow, look at the damage there from the Brody of Upatizi. It's just proving to be deadly at this point, 11 minutes in. And for Peru, they are. This is actually quite different. I haven't seen this lineup of Peru that is just so contained in the base. Steffi isn't able to make in the plays, and for the rest of the members of Brazil, I think what they really did was okay, fine, let's fight fire with fire. If they want to force out those team fights, if they want to pressure in there early, let's fight it with that. And it's good that they have this Fredrin to soak up the damage. They also got the glue here, and pretty much once these heroes are up, especially with the energy eruption of Fredrin, the Natalia hero Steffi might actually get taunted in, and that's something that Fredrin would want.
I think on the top side of the map, the item advantage was just so obvious at
Yes.
that point, right? Burger Kim, I
Oh, the
mean,
torn apart
oh
memories.
man, there we go. Kills again, over again for Brazil, just ensures them that Lord. Anyway, as I was saying, at that point, it looked like a great engage for Peru, but the items just are Brazil's just so ahead. That's why
Mm,
even though the
10K.
the the movements were correct, the items were
Mhm.
just way off base.
Yeah, at this point, right? Like if Peru wants the dives, Brazil is willing to give them those dives. Look at how aggressive they are. They're here to base before the Lord is up. And now this is Kin and Dragon down. No CC here. You see the stickers coming through as well from the Brazilian team. There's Upatizi getting assassinated from the backside. Steffi being really sneaky. And now Super Sidra goes in for the order. Joel Crew, the only one left, blazing the way to clear out the waves. The Lord is still up. Black is the first one to fall. Double kill for Brazilio. Able to tank up all of the damage. Here
Oh!
gets a triple with the Praises Rat. Wow, Steffi the only one left
Wow!
here. I'm not so sure if they will be able to take more of this from Brazil. Okay, they go for the safer route, take in all the inhibitors here for the side of Peru. Now Buzizio just able to take up the damage. There's pretty much no one who can burst him down here. He's so tanky. You can do a 1v1, 2v1, actually at this point even 3v1. It should be fine for Buzizio. And you have to consider that he has an immortality too, so it's not gonna be so easy to take him down.
Man, oh man. I mean, obviously Peru has more fight now compared to like 3 minutes ago. But Brazil also showing that, you know what, we also have some firepower of our own. You gotta respect that. Amazingly, somehow Peru are still alive. I actually thought they could actually, that could have been an endable game.
Mm. Well, they didn't want to overcommit too, right? There's a lot of CC, the penalty zone plus the threat of the decimation as well from Kin. So they really don't want to give them the upper hand or either get the shutdown gold up against them because as of the moment, it is 8K lead for the side of Brazil, and now okay, retribution is gonna be used here by Bazizio, and now there's a nice penalty zone by Dragon. There's Upatizi with the kill. And now from the backside, Harlan Didi gonna get taken down there by Super Syndra. There's the immortality for oh look at the fast hands of Brazil able
Oh,
to sell the immortality and get that winter truncheon in the nick of time. Or that would have been a big shutdown, especially for the side of Peru.
man, that was also super duper close there. And again, as long
Mhm.
as Peru can keep this up, as long as they can just survive, that's the call for for Peru right now. Survive, survive, survive. All we need to do is just buy some time, try to get back into this game. The moment that we hit 6 items, that means that we're level with Brazil. That's what Peru's thinking right now, and they can do this. They can just clear the waves all day long, and we can just try to keep this gold fight even. Maybe go for a steal, right? Oh,
Oh,
that's the problem.
Steffi. Okay, Steffi is able. Wow, he's still able to run, but he's just buying time here for the side of Peru. So this should be all right for them. This just buying time here, and he still escapes that one. Joel Crew just picks up the Malefic Roar, so this should be massive, right, for the Blazing Duet. And after all of that, Steffi still manages to survive. So that bought so much time for the side of Peru to just reconvene and try to figure out what they want to do next. Half HP for the Lord. Black zoning the members here of Peru. There's the immortality up. Is that enough to buy time for Brazil to take the Lord? And yes, they do take the Lord as Black is still up, alive, and kicking here. I'm not so sure if they still want to, try to go for Brazil here. Okay, they should be able to back away from this one. There's no inhibitors left here for Peru and back away to safety first. That's what they need to do. Defend up against this 16-minute Lord Rockhart.
Well, you gotta give it to Bazizio, man. I mean, he's doing so much. He's actually 8-0 and 7 right now. What the heck? He's actually the Bane tank, and he's also able to back
Mm-hmm.
off in time, juggle the damage from Peru, who are actually just, again, in survival mode right now. There goes Dragon, going in for the big penalty zone on 4
There's the.
members of Brazil, and the damage is actually looking really, really good right now. But no, Brazil in the end will have optimal
Fusisio!
itemization and will have the massive advantage in the team fight, taking out 3 members of Peru.
Oh, there's 4 members. Now will Joel Crew and Dragon be able to defend up against this one? Super Syndra on a killing spree. And it's Joel Crew getting the shutdown. But Brazil, they lock in the base, get the job done, and get this qualifiers, this BO5, and they're heading straight to Romania.
It will be Brazil who are coming in to the WEC 2023 in Romania. What a performance by the Brazilian squad, sweeping Peru with a 3-0 victory. I mean, I have to say that Peru really had some moments. I love what they were trying to do here. I love that they went for broke. They went for all of their comfort picks in game number 3. But in the end, it is going to be the Brazilian supremacy, massive macro. And I got to say, I have been seeing the growth of Brazil for a long time. This is definitely one of their peak moments.
Especially their region is proving to have a lot more improvements every time there is the professional lead up. So it's just good to see them just shine, even here in this qualifiers, and eventually they will be facing the winners as well of the qualifiers in the other regions. So this is a treat for people who just love a lot of good MLBB action, and we've seen it today. I think for Peru, they really gave it a good fight up against Brazil too. There was it wasn't really one-sided. There's a lot of pressure, definitely, and you see it as well in the drafting phase, wherein they banned out all those aggressive heroes. So Steffi, let's check out the replay here of our last and final game.
Yeah, I gotta say, it looked kind of good. Again, if you draft a very offensive oriented lineup, you want to go hard at the minute that you can. The moment you hit level 4, you go for these assassination attempts here. It's just unfortunate that the heroes of Brazil are just really beefy and really mobile, can get out of harm's way in the blink of an eye. So it's actually counterintuitive for Peru to just keep going here, because as you can see, the more that they go, the longer that these fights happen, they run out of fuel so easily, because they do the burst, one big boom. After that was just all smokes and flames, and that's exactly what happened here. Although, again, in the end, maybe if it went longer, maybe if it went 18-20 minutes, everyone 6 items, it would have been a different story. You have more offense, you have more firepower, you have more items, maybe it would have been a different story. But so far, even in the good engages of Peru, like what we see here, it
Mm.
was still Brazil on top. Because again, why? The items, man. They're so ahead in these items, and they're getting advantages in the on the neutral objectives. Even Upatizi with those beautiful one-offs. In the end, it was just item supremacy for Brazil, and they made it very obvious in the get go. The moment that Peru was starting to back off, that's the time that Brazil said, "You know what? Yes, guys, we already have this. They're backing. That means they don't have any bullets in their guns, so we can just make a run for it." And yeah, they went and made a run for it. They tried to end it as much as possible. Big props to Peru for holding on that long in these fights. And it was
Mm-hmm.
very apparent that, you know what, Brazil could have, if they slipped a few moments, if they slip is in these moments in 14 minutes, 15 minutes, that would win still Peru's game, right? But no, uh, Brazil showed that they have good macro and itemization in the end, even with that last minute winter truncheon there from Bazizio,
Winter Truncheon,
just to make
right?
sure that the scores are
Soup.
good, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if he did get shut down there, that's a big swing of gold to the side of Peru. So it's a good thing that he was able to have that presence of mind and then pick that up quickly. That's super fast, right? Like at that moment, he was about to get bursted down. That was that winter truncheon available, and I think for this game too, like Peru really did their best even in the draft, right? Getting the Natalia and the Claude, and I think they were just so focused on what to do, who to gank in this round, right? That really they didn't notice that Brazil was just busy pushing in, getting in all those major objectives, and I think just that just created so much room for Brazil to get in the objectives. The turtles, I think all the turtles went to Brazil in this game, and it just really sped up the itemization here of Brazil to be able to dish out that much damage in game number three.
Yeah, big commendation to Brazil for this game. Congratulations to the Brazilian squad. We will see you as you fly off to Romania to fight off in the ISF WEC 2023. And again, I have to reiterate what I mentioned earlier. This region overall, not just this team, this whole region for Brazil really
Right.
has shown up. And everyone else in the Americas region actually are catching up to what we see, what we usually see in the Asian region. So I love what I'm seeing. I love the experimentation. I love the, they really stick to what they know. They stick to their guns. Even Peru, who lost, I love that they tried to run with the Natalia and it could have worked if Brazil didn't think about that Rafaela, to be honest.
And this is the reason why you see like Luna has been, has won the hearts of the Southeast Asian region as well. Like having, I mean, if there's Upa TZ there, that loves the TZ brothers from the Philippines, you got Luna as well, loving the royal duo combo here in the Philippines. So it's just them, taking inspiration as well from other regions, and eventually, carving their own name here and getting this qualifier. So this is huge actually for the region. I love the growth, like what you mentioned, and I'd really love to see more from these other teams. And they can really put up a fight. Honestly, looking at them, there's not one match that it was just completely. Maybe in the first few days, the teams are just getting warmed up, but eventually they are just pretty much doing a very good job here in the qualifiers. And let's take a look at the MVP for our game number three. I think it is, of course, Fusizio with no kills. Thanks to that winter truncheon play, zero deaths, beautifully executed. And I think Fusizio was also the key, Rockhart, the reason why Brazil was able to force out a lot of these team fights and was able to sustain as well the front line or the damage that is coming out from Peru in game number three.
I have to agree because Bazizio, if imagine if he died so many times in the early game, no matter how tanky Black was, if he was just Black, it would have been impossible for him to actually tank for a Lunox or Rafaela, for
Mhm.
Brody. So Bazizio keeping the scales, keeping the balance for the Brazilian squad ensured that they would have a victory in the early, the mid, and the late game. So overall, yeah, big props to Brazil for making that lineup work as well against a very scary glass cannon lineup that Peru has created. And again, all of that is due to good mastery of the game, execution, and obviously they also had a very very good drafting phase as well. So big congratulations to Brazil. Again, they're going to be part of one of the teams that will fight off in Romania. And they are going to be fighting for the lion's share of 100,000 USD. And I have to say, it's been a big honor to basically cast these games for the Americas regions. We have discovered so much, and I personally have learned so much from my time here in the qualifiers.
Yeah, likewise, Rockhart. Me too. I had so much fun all 4 days here of the qualifiers, and well, I always make this joke about having a world tour, and this is one of the regions I enjoyed the most as well. First time casting for the Americas region, and it's truly an honor to be with you guys for all 4 days. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed all the games. Hopefully, you guys can keep on supporting all the teams here in the Americas region because they definitely need all of your support. Definitely promising, and we really hope to see more of them in the future.
Yeah, and as for you guys, thank you so much for watching the stream. Don't forget to follow the IESF pages on Twitter, on Facebook, everywhere else, on YouTube as well. If you have friends, tell them to watch the replays so that they can find out some good MLBB from the Americas region. And as for us, that's gonna be it. I'm Rockhart, and this is Burger Kim. We will see you all once we get into Romania in 2023 for IESF WEC 2023. See you guys later. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.
Bye bye.